I would like to have a warm welcome to you, because now we're going to talk more about how this can change the business processes. And of course, we're a lot about talking about automated inspections. And of course, we go into this part because it will be the more challenging part to get. So Kai, I wanted to start with you. I think we met in 2019 in a meeting in Amsterdam where there was already a lot of discussion about this. So you at DEKRA are studying this evolution for a long time now. What's your reflection in general? And we'll put this as well as a poll, is will people ever be replaced by systems? So Kai, please.
So this is for me after working now 8 years on this topic of automatic damage detection, after screening the market quite thoroughly, having visited around 20 different solutions. We are convinced as DEKRA that it will have an impact on our business in the testing and inspection area. It might not replace us as an expert company, but I will go to it in a minute. For us, we see it some sort of a combination of tools. There will be always something which will be automated. We will gain efficiency. Let me maybe do it with another example from a different area. What I have in mind when it comes to digitalization, to AI, if you're simply talking about bank transfers. A couple of years ago, I remember I was writing down like crazy little numbers on a piece of paper, handing it in, waiting 2-3 days until it was processed. So this is today simply done on a smartphone. So every one of us is using online banking these days. But this doesn't mean that there's not a bank anymore. It's more specialized, it's more focused, but there's still a need to have a real expert. Remember, or imagine you have a real estate financing. This is pre-qualified, but the last decision, the last word, it's always in the hand of an expert. And so I think it will also impact our way of doing and our way of working. We will be, and sometimes more efficient. In some areas, we will probably be replaced. We have some processes in which we are inspecting cars which are unloaded from ship. So we have 30 seconds to indicate if the car has a damage. If yes, we steer it to a different inspection process. If not, we just put it on storage. And in these simple processes, I see a replacement of a physical, of a human being quite soon. But on the other hand, there will always remain things if we do not overdevelop or over-engineer artificial intelligence solutions or scanners in a way. Imagine, I haven't seen a solution which can smell the interior of the car. I haven't seen a solution which is able to check the service booklet page by page if all the services were done. Also, when it comes, hopefully not so often, to mileage fraud, which is roughly at 30% of all used cars the case. It's simply not there. This transfer knowledge to compare the wear and tear of a seat or a driving wheel with the shown mileage of an odometer. Simply this feeling to say, okay, I need to investigate a little bit more. It's not there today, and this makes me quite positive that we will have an impact. We will be supported by an AI solution, but there's still some room for expert companies.
You have your microphone off, Jon.
I'm sorry. We see indeed in the poll that people believe that this will indeed change everything drastically. Maybe coming back to you, Lea, on this question, do you see it in the same way? You've been talking about efficiency, but how do you see the fact that how big percentage would almost become AI and how much would still be depending on people?
Well, thank you, Kai, and thank you, Jon. I think it's a change of position of those experts, people working. It's a change from doing, as Kai said, it's from doing it all manually, it's just gonna accelerate the movement of at least 80% interpretation optimization in terms of time and relevance, but then of course there will still need 20% of validation and of course file management. This can also be accelerated by AI, but that's not the part of our company. And so yes, it's an optimization. Today, AI will not replace the physical experts, but we are sure, and we join Kai for this, we will increase, and we are increasing the quality, the efficiency. No group tomorrow will be able to do without AI. They will lose too much of competitiveness. But then no group will work without not any people in the company either. They will still have a lot to do with validation and file management. So what we see is just a change of position.
Okay. Maybe over to Carnext, Carnext.com. Max, welcome here as well.
Thank you.
You're also piloting different systems currently, probably also in a way to start learning how this could help you. What is the thinking behind using different systems? Because one of the systems I think used in Germany is not applying AI. So what's your thinking behind?
Yeah, that's correct. The thinking behind this is to get insights in the various existing systems. And that's why in Germany we are piloting a scanner without AI called Twinner, which is mainly focusing on remarketing. But in addition, we will be testing in cooperation with SDS also the possibility of doing the cosmetic inspections remotely. And therefore, we will use the Twinner's high-quality 360 exterior, interior, underbody, and tire tread depth scan. And the idea is that these scans will be sent to a location in Europe where a team of inspectors will do an inspection from one location. And in the end, this could be a solution for the labor-intensive inspections on our compounds throughout Europe to a far more efficient and consistent centralized inspection. And next to this, we are planning a pilot in the Netherlands in cooperation with DEKRA, and that's called ProofStation. This scanner actually does incorporate AI and is focusing on damage recognition. And where this is appealing is speed and accuracy. And this could also be a solution for processing high volumes of cosmetic inspections within our D-Fleet program.
Okay. So I think, Lea, it's clear that there is a need on top of this, I think, to have a look at interior, and of course your systems currently can't smell, as was mentioned before. How do you integrate this in a process trying to find solutions with your customers?
Well, upstream remarketing is relevant to any B2B oriented vehicles, exported vehicles. And if there is no refurbishment, then it can work upstream remarketing both, like you mentioned, Max. If there is refurbishment, then probably you will have first an evaluation of the car, and then secondly, the car being shooted. And once this is mentioned, the big challenge here, of course, is to have a uniform pictures online, remarketing pictures. And again, it's how we can have the same level of quality across all medias for inspection and for remarketing. And AI can be part of it. It can be included in the turntable, existing turntables that you have. And that's the power actually of AI, is that it can be integrated in any location. Even it's in another country, it can work directly by adjusting the quality of the picture, by helping live shooting, by helping mapping hotspots directly on the vehicle, thanks to 3Ds and AI. And that's empowering remarketing, upstream remarketing, like you said, Max.
Okay, thanks. Peter, coming to you. So Silvio mentioned also the possibility to do upstream by using more focused on smartphone apps, maybe to have an earlier visibility on the vehicle. I know that within Husqvarna Group, you also have got a smartphone app, I believe. But which opportunities does this create, basically, for customers?
Well, with the use of our app, which is a flexible, tailor-made app for any customer, you are able to do any kind of inspection on location. And of course, with an app, you're more flexible by doing these inspections. And what we have also realized is a kind of remote. So you've got on-site and off-site inspections possibility with the app. The off-site brings the earlier visibility, as you mentioned. So what we do now is with our customers is that we do pre-inspections based within a live stream. We set up between the app and the phone of the driver, and we do the vehicle inspection on a remote base. Let's say 2 weeks before the car has to be returned. You know what the advantage is that the customer is happy. You, as the owner of the car, for instance, the leasing company, knows what is coming in. They haven't seen the car for 3 or 4 years, and they do not know what to be expected. And with the pre-inspection, it allows them to make a good condition analysis of the car, a quick condition report. They can know the mileage, they can see the condition of the car, and when the car comes in, they can save up, let's say, a week time in about decision making, what to do with it. The remarketing process is more than just taking in the car and doing an inspection. It's also the selling of the car afterwards. Do you go to the auction? Do you go to the traders or whatever? And with the use of our application, you can speed up this process by being more efficient and have a lot of time saving in the working process.
Do you have an idea on what efficiency people can gain, or is it
we have heard from
days or something?
Yeah, we have heard from several of our customers that they can save up to a week in this lead time. In difference, if you wait till the car is on the compound and you have to inspect it then, or you do a pre-inspection in this process, and you can save up to a week in lead time in decision making, what to do with it, and do the final inspection on the compound. That's an enormous time saver.
No, indeed. If you could save that on all your cars, then it's indeed enormous efficiency.
You also know that with the communication with the driver, you can already prepare him for, hey, we have to charge for this damage or not. Is it wear and tear, or is it really chargeable damage? The discussion is more transparent.
Okay, great. Kai, maybe coming to you on this same item a bit, as smartphone apps, because I think you also have integrated in some countries in your way of working. I think the challenge there could be a bit on quality, to have consistent quality, because of course it's been taken by different people, different inspectors, drivers. So what are the challenges there, and how do you overcome these maybe?
Yeah, and you're right. We are today rendering already fully digital service based on our handover application. It's now running in 8 European countries. And yeah, I can state it's quite a success if you accept to hand over the management of the inspection from an independent expert in the hands of a driver. I mean, you always have the possibility, if you walk around the car, just simply to hide the damage or just not to show it, because maybe it's not a damage for you, maybe it's only wear and tear. This is something we are facing if you only rely on these solutions. The AI can close this gap, but it will remain. What we are used to balance out in a discussion with our clients is to say, okay, how could we gain the highest possible customer experience, the best possible one, and balancing out the invoicing of the refurbishment cost. So this is for us a balance, and we also have experience with the remote inspection with a video tooling with our I2I tool since 2012, that it's sometimes simply necessary, if the results of such an application are not sufficient, just to call in a second process the driver and to say, okay, please could you show me this this area of the car once more, because it was parked in the sun, it was too bright. You simply forgot to take a picture or something like this. So it is a challenge, but on the other hand, it's really accelerating, or it's really strengthening the customer experience, because you're not dependent on a different company, a different individual.
Okay, great. I don't know who feels okay to answer this question. We had a question coming in on the stage from Dirk Marco. On which base you calculate repair costs? Of course, I know why this question is asked, maybe, but I don't know if you can comment, Leah, on this. Is it depending on the customers? Are there different sources? Is this how do you integrate finally costs? Is it from your side or more from the customer side?
That's a very good question, and it is specifically client-based after an investigation of their process and their needs. We can do two types of treatments in terms of pricing. Flat rate price, which is front check, by check, depending on the business logics I explained earlier. So depending on the severity and each part and each repair, you can have a price. This is what we call the flat rate repair. And we can also have the process of integration with tools that already exist, existing in all areas, Sedexa, Lacour, DAT. Those pricing solutions can be implemented and integrated to tools that we use. So I'll say it's very specific to each client, but both exist.
Okay, thanks. Kai, you was a service provider, if I can say so, or operations provider there. How do you integrate costs? Is this also depending on specific customer needs?
Yeah, this really depends on the discussions and on the analysis we had with our customers before. Sometimes when it's just about fast inspection process, and then it might make sense just to have a lump sum pricing matrix. In other cases, when an insurance company, when accidents are involved, we need to tackle, then it might be worth to switch to a different calculation engine. So I think we have, I don't know, 25, 30 different calculation methodologies, operational. So it really depends, and it needs to fit in the life cycle and in the process. So the answer just to say, okay, it's black or white, I think it's too short. We need to understand what is the aim of this process, so that we can discuss and decide upon which calculation methodology fits best and most efficient.
Okay, thanks. Maybe back to Carnex.com, Max. Maybe into another area, because of course you're here the expert on selling vehicles, because you basically re-market vehicles coming from a lease company, but you also add a lot of others. So you basically buy a lot of additional vehicles and you re-market vehicles for everyone who basically finds that you can remarket cars very efficiently for them. Do you see AI playing a role in checking those vehicles?
Yeah. However, these checks are far more extensive, but for exterior damage detection, I think yes. Okay. And especially when the other source is also using AI, it could become really effective. For interior, unfortunately, there's no AI technology. And also the challenge remains for example, the trunk or a glove compartment missing items. But what makes the IA really interesting is the volume we could process. And with the inflow of these different sources and the corresponding volumes, it could really be a good tool for the initial exterior checks. But next to the damages, we as CarNext also would like to check interior, mechanical parts, and also the vehicle data check. And the reason behind that is that we want to have a complete overview of the vehicle and the possible deviations. So what did we buy and what is actually received on our compounds? So I think the part of the exterior, and that's the 80% that Leah mentioned, there it could be very effective, but all the other parts, we still have to find different solutions for that.
And you also, if you sell vehicles, you also trade in their old vehicle. Do you use smartphone apps for that currently?
No, our operations is centralized, and
Okay.
we only use inspections on our compounds.
Okay, clear.
So no smartphone apps at CarNext.
Yeah. Okay. Now we had a question coming in through the event portal before, and I know it's a challenging one, Leah, but I'm going to ask it anyhow. They're basically asking for the ROI on a scan-based system. Now, we are not going to go into detailed business cases or volumes, but how do you see these? And I think for the audience, it would be interesting to a bit elaborate on this point, if you're willing.
Yes. Well, an operator is needed to take an image to do the interior inspection, but still, Max, it's very important to keep in mind that this person driving the car, taking the picture, it has an impact that it's the same person and optimizes the process of a traditional inspection that are changed to avoid traffic or to absorb fluctuations and volume peaks. Now, talking about return on investment, it's very different from one client to another and from the needs of the solution with AI. So if we have a look at the solution of the scanner, our clients divide by 3 the time of an inspection for pre-inspection and end of lease inspections. So that's the fluctuation that we have. For a client that is more about API solutions, so for image rendering, for example, it's more the timing acceleration on how to do photo shoots that can be about 7, acceleration of 7, or it can be about that is less accurate for leasing companies, but more for UV marketplaces to for the valuation of a car from any particular person when they are giving, for example, a folder of pictures to be analyzed, for them to give back a price that can be from now about 2 hours up to 24 hours. And with AI, we really can reduce that to 1 hour. So that's very important for them on that part, if that answers your question, Johan.
Yeah, of course. Thanks. Peter, maybe a bit of the same question towards you, but then more on the smartphone-based system. What ROI do you get there? I'm not sure if you can put a value amount on this out of the experience you have.
Yeah, we can do that, and it's not only for the fleet and leasing business, but we also have our app solution in use at the dealer level, where we talk about used car trade-in or sales. And the thing is that when a car is brought in for trade-in or for sales, you need to have a good inspection, a good condition of the car. And more often today, it is forgotten to charge the repair cost or to deduct the repair cost from the new car for the sales price and so on. So there the dealer loses a lot of money or forgets to get the money because he doesn't have a good condition report of the car, including the repair costs for scratches, dents, and maybe also because we can also cover the technical parts. And if you have got a good condition report of the car where the repair costs are very clear, the trade-in business can save him 250, 500 euros per car. This is our experience, and this is very easy done. It's just by not forgetting to have these repair costs clear.
Okay. Now I see within the polls where we ask whether people believe that artificial intelligence will change the remarketing industry. I think 75% agrees that it changes significantly. So that's clear that everyone is. That's why we've got so many people on here. Now, as a last question, I would like to give everyone, just like we did before, a final ideas to the people on, out of your experience, what would you give as input on when people need to change their processes, when people would like to look into automation of this AI, what should they do? Where do they need to start, and what did they need to look forward to? Maybe we can start, if I can look, and I don't know if you've got the same order on the screen, but maybe from down to up, and then we give Lea the last word almost. So Kai?
Okay, so I mentioned it already partly from my understanding as a service provider. It's not only our task to deliver one product. It's not only about a condition report, neither in a traditional way or in a digital manner. I think our mission is more to design a solution together with our customers to understand their business and to balance the economic expectations, the customer satisfaction. So the inspection, the condition report, it's an important part of the remarketing process, but it's only a part. I mean, especially in the area of fleet and remarketing, we understand ourselves as a provider around the whole value chain. There's a lot more in this. There might be an invoicing process linked. There might be steering of refurbishment. And with DEKRA's 90 years of experience, we have today, we see the digitalization will be a complementary part to make a story out of it, but not with the standalone solution, not with only PDF coming out of a smartphone app or scanner. So my recommendation to keep this in mind would be to focus on the whole chain, to think what is necessary, which technologies are the best to integrate. And doing so, we will achieve the most flexible and optimal solution, and as well the most cost-efficient and quick processes to reach a high level of customer experience, and also, simply a smooth flow of process without any struggle and any gaps between the different process steps.
Okay, Kai, thanks a lot, and also for your expertise in this session. Can I then move over to Max?
Yes, of course. Most likely until now there will be no system that fully covers and automates all your inspection and remarketing needs. A lot of solutions will still be hybrid, so a combination between human and machine. So my recommendation is to thoroughly analyze and prioritize your demands. Think about application. So, for example, usage for inspection, remarketing, or both. For what volume or what speed. And then your operations approach. So either centralized or decentralized. And so in the end, pick the system that fits your demands best and make that more efficient by connecting other features and further development.
Okay, thanks, Max. Peter, I would like to add one question before your final statement, because there was a question coming in that in your you have automated repair estimates integrated in the AI. Is that in your solution? Is that correct, or?
Yes.
Okay. And where do those estimates come from then?
Well, we as Swiftus have got 3 decades of data stored in our warehouse. And we are data mining from our own experience and our own data sources, and there we make our own calculation matrix. And based on this matrix, we can predict repair cost, make forecasts for any kind of repair cost. And that's all based on our data source. And of course, our customers, like the others, it's all tailor-made. If they want to have an external data source for calculation, that's also possible. They can use our matrix, they can use external matrices, and so on. That's no problem.
Okay, Peter.
And concerning to what we are now concluding, I followed my former speakers, so it is very, very important, and I think that the future will be a hybrid version. It's not only an app or a web version or AI or integrated in each other, and you need to have a platform which is flexible, which can be have open interface possibilities to connect to payment and other systems. There will be not one platform, but there will be a connection of several platforms, a cloud version. So, and we strongly believe in a standardized flow in the remarketing process, and multilingual, of course, multi-reporting, tailor-made possibilities, because not every client is the same and not every intake or inspection is the same. So you need to be able to process all these customer requirements. And our solution is able to do that. So that is my final word to this.
Thanks. Now, we also have got some consultants here in the event currently, so I think they will be happy to hear that it's not just one solution that does everything, but that we need to really design the right process for the right customers. So the final word to our founding partner, Czech. I think what comes out of this clearly is a lot of people were expecting, like, when do we have this one solution that does it all? But clearly there is a different world out there, and probably it needs to be a combination of systems, processes, people, AI. So what would be your final words on this? Yeah.
Yes, what we've seen in the 10 countries that we have opened is that the AI is performing the same way, but how you interpret the data, depending on the countries, and indeed depending on human, then it is a different interpretation. And that's also part of why the AI will have some 0.8% of the traffic and then 20%. So we all agree on that, and I'm pretty happy about it. And what I will just say as a conclusion is, to paraphrase Bill Gates, we have quite often people tend to overestimate what will happen in the next 2 years, but they tend to underestimate what will happen in the next 10 years. And that, I think that's the case here. Yes, people at the first step wanted to have one solution doing it all, so overestimating what happens now when it was about 2 years ago. But yes, I think if all industry talk to one another, and I think we have to work with one another to make that happen, we probably underestimate the power of those changes that will happen in the next 10 years.
Great. Well, I would like to thank all of the experts. I will take a few slides basically just to end and to introduce what's going to happen afterwards. I would like, if you could please stay certainly in the tool. We will stay open until 7 for another half an hour, so that you could basically talk to people. And I'm now just gonna share a bit what's gonna happen next, and I would like to thank the expert panel a lot. Thanks a lot, and hope to talk to you soon.